Hey, I see y'all already tapping in with a gent. Top of it to y'all. I see y'all. Top of it, man. What's going on with y'all, man? Y'all already know who it is and what it is, man. The God anointed, game appointed gentleman freeze is it. Did you drink your water today? How many of y'all's hydrated today? If you ain't drank nothing today, man, drink you some water, man. If you don't listen to nothing I say, if you don't do anything or take heed to anything that I say, do that, man. Drink you some water, man. Thank me later. Thank me later, man. But you see, man, you see a motherfucker over here, look awfully pimpish though, feeling awfully pimpish though. You know what I mean? Freshly braided, lined up, trimmed up, everything. You know what I mean? Yeah. How y'all feeling though, man? What's going on with y'all, man? Let me know what's popping with y'all around the bubble. Hold on, let me fix something real quick. We don't keep getting interruption. Yeah, you're right. I should drop some lemon in there. I need to go get some lemon drops for my water because it is good for you. But yeah, man. Y'all see the topic. You see what we're going to talk about tonight, man. We're going to talk about these hoes versus these prostitutes. Because a lot of people get it misconstrued. A lot of people think it's the same thing. Or some people might think it's different, but they got different definitions of what each is. But that's what we're gonna talk about, man. I'm gonna give y'all a few more minutes to get in here, or another minute or two, I should say, to tune in. We're gonna chop it and pop it tonight about this one, man. And then later on, I might open up that phone line, let y'all call in and ask questions. You dig? What's up with y'all though, man? Wait for a few more people to get in here. We're gonna get to it. Forest Field, you say Christmas that came early, huh? Yeah, when you live in this life, man, every day is supposed to be a holiday. You dig? James Keels just got done spending time with the kids. That's a beautiful thing, man. That's a blessing. That's a blessing, man. That not everyone has or is able to take part in. Yeah, we'll have to do a BJ Slugs Beats. We're gonna have to discussion. That's a good question, John Doe. If a hoe want you, but you don't have a car, is that a bad sign? That's a funny one. Frito OG. once again with the $10. Much appreciated. Best of blessings to you, man. Yeah, James Keels. Thanks, because I know guys who don't even get no time to spend time with their kids. She allowed me She allowed me only 2 days, but that's a blessing, better than no days. For real, man, because I know some people like that. See, everybody be thinking that, just because, I don't want to get too far off topic, but I just want to say this real quick. A lot of people be thinking that just because the man ain't in the kid's life, that that's his choice. But what they don't understand is you got a lot of cats. I know a few of them myself, family members and friends that have kids, ain't allowed to see their kids because they don't want to be in a relationship with the baby mama, or they don't want to do what the baby mama want them to do, whatever that may be. And the baby mama don't know how to separate the personal relationship with the baby daddy and allow, separate that from the relationship with the kids. You dig? Because you ain't necessarily got to like each other and all of that. You know what I mean? But you should at least want to co-parent in an effective type of way. You know what I mean? Like my baby's mother and myself, we get along real cool, and we understand that we not finna be in no relationship with each other, and she already know my get down and what I'm on. She know what it was when she was with me, and it's still the same thing now. And we like I said, we understand that we not gonna move forward on a personal level, but we co-parent well. You know what I mean? The co-parent situation is just copacetic, so it's all good. But we're gonna talk about real hoes, or just hoes period, versus prostitute. The hoe versus the prostitute. Now John Doe asked a question. He say, if a hoe want you but you don't have a car, is that a bad sign? And then Green Money responded saying not having a car is bad in itself. Now I'm gonna say this. See, just like I spoke on before, a problem with a lot of people today in the game is that they choose up with situations instead of the person that's in a situation, right? And like I've said before, a bitch might choose up with a motherfucker that has a car, but and let that be one of the biggest determining factors in her decision, but that alone ain't gonna guarantee that she get what she should want to get from the situation, which is some ism, some pimping. She should want to get some pimping out the situation. But if she chooses, just like if she got a choice, if she got two peas that she digging on, and the only thing that she wants to choose is somebody with a car, she go with this cat just because he got a car. You dig? She might be choosing a terrible situation because this cat might not be the pimping. He might have bitches giving him money, but he might not be the ism though. This cat over here with no car, he might have been on before, or he might not have ever been on before, but he's really sincere about the game, and he's dedicated to being a hoe's greatest asset. He's dedicated to bring the absolute best out of this bitch. You dig? So, and he got nothing but the greatest intentions for her. And he might have a plan that all this needed to set this plan in motion is this bitch cooperating and surrendering herself fully to this man, and his pimping. And what motherfuckers don't understand, man, like, that's the most beautiful thing about this game, man. One night can change your life. One night can change your whole situation. So this cat right here might have way more game for her with the no car than this cat right here. He might have a car but zero game for the bitch. And the game that this guy has to give her, she gonna miss out on and not even realize, like, he might lace her in such a way that the bitch check enough money tonight to go get a car tomorrow. A better car than what this motherfucker got. But that's how people in the game miss out on blessings. That's how bitches in the game miss out on the blessing of having some pimping in their life by choosing up on a situation. What you don't keep in mind, what you're not thinking about when you choose this situation is that situations change. Situations can change for the better, situations can change for the worse. But what doesn't change is the man in that situation. And that's what you need to pay attention to. The character, the nature of who this man is, it's not going to change. And if you pay attention to that, you're going to figure out if that's the best thing for you to put in your life or not. So, yeah. You know what I mean? I done been that motherfucker without a car and got chose and did some pimping and ended up getting a motherfucking car and a whole lot more than just a car. You dig? So, you know, that just not having a car situation, that shit don't mean nothing in this game. That shit don't mean nothing at all. You know what I mean? Like I say all the time, you got cats in the game. You got cats in the game that they got cars and a whole bunch more than that, and they got bitches, but they didn't do no pimping to get what they got. It just looks like a pimping situation because a motherfucker got car and materialistics and bitches, and it might look like they got some money, but one thing they might not have is pimping. They might be bankrupt in the pimping department. You know what I mean? They pimp bank account might be on zero. They might be in the motherfucking red. They might be negative with the shit. You dig? So you got to pay attention to more than just that. And see, like we talking about, the hoe versus the prostitute. One thing about that hoe, she gonna want some pimping in her life. And she's not gonna have any problem surrendering herself. And just like I've said in times past, one thing that makes a hoe exceptional is her willingness and her ability to surrender herself wholeheartedly to some pimping. You dig? To fall under to fall under this man's pimp and fall in line and cooperate fully the way that she's supposed to and follow his lead to the letter. A lot of motherfuckers think that that shit is weak. You know, the prostitute might think that that's weak to surrender herself to this man. But as I've said before, there's a lot of strength exercised in that. You know, if it was so weak, then how come so many people have such a difficult time doing it? You know, something is weak, it's not difficult to do. You know what I mean? If something is weak for somebody to do, then why is it so difficult for so many people to do? But yeah, like I said, a lot of people got a misunderstanding as to what a prostitute is and what a hoe is. Some people think they're the same thing. Some people think that they are what they are not. But the prostitute, right, is somebody who's just in the game. And the thing about the prostitute, she is just participating in the game to get some money, but the prostitute might not even necessarily believe in the game. The prostitute is one who picks and chooses certain aspects of the game and want to take that and run with it and use it to her advantage. And that's the difference between the prostitute and the hoe. See, the hoe is going to accept the whole, every aspect of the game. She's going to accept the game in its entirety. That's what the hoe is going to do. And see, a part of the game, a part of accepting the game as a whole is fucking with some pimping. See, the prostitute might not accept the pimping because of what she hears, or the prostitute might have been in a situation where a motherfucker was saying that they was some pimping, but they wasn't displaying some pimping, and they wasn't conveying no pimping, and The bottom line, there was just no pimping in the mix. It wasn't no pimping in the equation. And from there, that's her first impression of what the pimping is supposedly. And like I say, from there, she's got a fucked up notion of what pimping is. So when she think of pimping, she think of this. You dig? And it's the wrong thing. Or she might not even understand it. Like I say all the time, she might have been the wrong bitch for the right motherfucker, or she might have been the right bitch for the wrong motherfucker. The right hoe for the wrong pimp, or the wrong hoe for the right pimp. It could have been one of them type of situations. But whatever the case may have been, now she got a bad taste in her mouth, and she might scream RHGO, she might scream real hoeing going on, but it ain't really no hoeing going on. And there's more to being a hoe than just getting some money. See, if you getting some money, you could classify yourself as a prostitute. But there's a whole lot more to being a hoe than just getting some money. See, a prostitute is just a bitch that got it on deck, a bitch that's just available, a bitch that's out there with, with her services available for sale. That's really all it takes to classify yourself as a prostitute. A willingness to go get down and make yourself available and go get it. You did, but you can't call yourself a hoe if you're not fully living up to the title of a hoe. You dig? That's why I say you got a lot of bitches in the game that'll scream RHGO, but they not willing to live up to what it really means for it to be RHGO. See, when it's really RHGO, like I said, you're gonna accept all aspects of the game. That's what a real one gonna do. That's what a hoe gonna do. A hoe gonna accept all aspects of the game, and a hoe can appreciate the pimping. A hoe can appreciate, you know, how the pimping is built and what the pimping's purpose is. A hoe can appreciate a pimp's purpose in her life, and a hoe understands. Just like I've said this before, right? Some of y'all probably heard me say this before. If you're a basketball player and you take one shot and you miss that one shot, it's not gonna stop you from taking another and another, right? If you're a basketball player, you're gonna shoot and you want to make baskets because that's part of your nature as a basketball player. That's what you're gonna do. If you a square and you're a square female and you accustomed to dealing with boyfriends, and or that's just your understanding of life, is to have a boyfriend, and the first relationship that you get in might have turned out bad. It might even been traumatic or whatever the case may be, but it ended on a bad note. It's not gonna stop you from getting another boyfriend and another boyfriend, because if you a square female, that's what you do. You get boyfriends in your life. You want some type of companionship, and see, that's what it's really about. It's about having companionship. But depending on what lifestyle you live, if you're true to that lifestyle, you're going to have a certain type of companion in your life. When it comes to, like I said, the square world, a square bitch might have a boyfriend. That boyfriend experience turn out bad. It's not going to have her with the mindset of fuck a boyfriend because they all bad. Some females do that, but it still won't stop them from getting another boyfriend. They might be on some man hater shit, but they still gonna be open to getting another boyfriend. And they more than likely gonna end up with another boyfriend. And if you believe in the whole marriage thing, as a female, you might get married. That marriage might turn out bad. It's not gonna, for most, again, there's always, in them types of situations, it might be certain exceptions to the rule. But for the most part, if you're a square female, you get married, that marriage turn out bad, it's not gonna just make you exempt from getting married again. You still gonna be open to the idea of getting married, especially if you meet a motherfucker that you like, and they start talking about marriage, and you really, really digging on that person and loving them, and you can see yourself spending your life with this person again, or not again, but You can see yourself spending your life with this person. You're not gonna say to yourself, "Oh, because that marriage turned out bad, I'm not gonna marry this person." You did. You might have learned certain things from that marriage that was bad, and that might have influenced your decision to marry or to even get involved with this person who you potentially could marry. But you might be digging on this person, and you know that this person is better for you than that last person you was married to, but you're not gonna say just because this motherfucker was bad, that means automatically this person is gonna be bad too. So I'm not gonna marry him because of how that shit turned out. No, if you the type of person that's open to marriage, one bad marriage ain't gonna stop you from having another and possibly another after that, and even possibly another after that. You dig? It's the same thing with a hoe. See, a hoe wants a pimp in her life. A hoe don't want no boyfriend. A hoe don't want no husband. A hoe don't want no D-boy. A hoe just don't want no square man in her life. Because a real hoe understands that any of these motherfuckers could possibly be a trick at any given time. And 9 times out of 10, they will be a trick. So a hoe understands that the only kind of man for her is a pimp. And if she chooses a bad motherfucker that, if she chooses and has a bad experience with a pimp, a real hoe is not going to stop her. That bad experience is not going to stop her from choosing another pimp and another pimp and even possibly another pimp. You dig? Now, one thing about us in the game, we have a tendency to look down upon and talk bad about choosy Susies. Which for those of y'all familiar with that term, choosy Susie is a bitch that, she might choose 10 pimps this month. You know what I mean? It ain't got to necessarily be that many, but it's we know of those of us in the game. If you really in the game, I'm pretty sure you know of certain bitches like that. You probably know of certain bitches that's worse than that. I know I got a bitch in mind that's worse than that. I know of a bitch that chose like 100 pimps in 1 year. Some of y'all probably know who I'm talking about with her faggot ass. But as much of a fag as she may be, I just respect the fact that the bitch is seeking some pimping. You know what I mean? Now, where she's going wrong is, just in my opinion, where she's going wrong is she's choosing them for the wrong reasons. She's got the wrong intentions, and she's hoping that, she's hoping that the solution is going to be another pimp. But really, bitch, the solution is fixing yourself, correcting yourself, and making yourself right for the next P. You dig? She probably thinking that all these different P's is the problem, and that's why she's choosing new P's one after another. But really, the problem is her. But beyond all of that, my point is, if you really a hoe and you true to this game, you're not gonna want no boyfriend. You're not gonna want no husband. Whether or not he's trying to be your husband or he's somebody else's husband, but just accepting your trap. A real hoe ain't gonna participate in no type of shit like that. So yeah, real hoe is gonna seek some pimping, man. A real hoe wants pimping in her life. She's not finna deal with no square motherfucker. And I respect that over a renegade. See, a renegade is that prostitute that I'm talking about. You dig? The one who is gonna participate in the game, but she's gonna have a boyfriend. Or she might even get married and have a husband. She gon' and see that's what people don't keep in mind. Females don't like to be lonely. You got certain bitches that might go extended periods of time being single, but best believe me, that's not their ideal choice. They might choose to be that way, but that's not something that's ideal for a woman. No woman wants to be alone and single for an extended period of time. Same thing with men. Nobody wants to just be alone all the time. I don't give a fuck what nobody tell you. Now, some people might choose to be that way, but if they had it their way, they'd rather it be the opposite. You dig? Because that's just like me. I don't like going too long without having a female around me. I like having bitches around me. So that's what I'm gonna do. I'm not gonna go no years and shit without a hoe in my life. You know what I mean? Because the type of lifestyle I live, I'm gonna have hoes in my life. And I'm not gonna have extended periods of time in my life where I don't have a hoe around. You dig? And the cold thing about it, you got these prostitutes, right? That, cause like me, I'm well known. Motherfuckers know me to profess what I profess, right? Now, let's say I go off and get in a square relationship for like 6 months. I got a girlfriend or whatever the case may be. You know what I mean? Then I come back, I start having some hoes. Then, you know what I mean, when I get holeless and doleless again, next thing you know, a few months after that, I'm married. And I end up being married for like 2 years or something like that. And then, you know, me and my wife get divorced. And next thing you know, I'm back claiming pimping. You know, now, if I was to do something like that, bitches is going to be like, these prostitutes, I mean, we even real hoes too, but just bitches in the game in general is gonna be like, he ain't no pimping. He had a girlfriend 1 minute, then he got married, and you know he confused. He don't know what he want to do. Then he trying to have hoes again. He not no real pimp. Real pimp ain't gonna have no girlfriend. A real pimp ain't gonna get married. A real pimp gonna stay dealing with hoes. A real pimp gonna pimp. A real pimp gonna stay true to the game. He ain't true to the game. You know, now they gonna say that for the pimping, right? But it's a cold double standard in the game because on the flip side of that coin, you got these bitches who swear up and down that they are real hoes. And they got boyfriends, they got husbands, they got squares that they fuck with. And they swear up and down that they really the hoeing. And the only thing that they have in common with hoes is the fact that they go out and get money from tricks. But other than that, what makes you a hoe? Because hoes fuck with pimps. That's what a hoe gonna do. A hoe gonna fuck with a pimp. But bitch, you got a boyfriend. You got a motherfucker that work a job. You got a motherfucker that sell dope. Or you got a motherfucker that don't do none of that shit, but he's not really the pimping because he's compromising making a deal with you. And he's not giving you no game. He's not an asset to you. He's just a motherfucker whose sex game you like, and you think he cute, and he makes you feel good, and that's why you fucking with him. But he not really doing no pimping though, and you know that. And that's like I said, that's the double standard with the game because a bitch will do shit like that. A bitch will go off and be like complete like stop fucking with the game, stop selling her, you know, self or you know, stop fucking with tricks or whatever. The bitch might just completely square up for like a year or two and come back and be, you know, screaming that it's hoeing again and all that type of shit, and everybody just respect this bitch, you know. Don't want nobody say nothing to this bitch about, oh, bitch, you had a husband, you just was married, you just had a boyfriend. You know, some people will talk shit about it, but it's gonna be the minority. You know what I mean? As long as this bitch come back, and especially don't let the bitch like do something like hit a lick or something and give this money to the pimping. You know, and it might not even be a lick out the game. Bitch might get a settlement or some shit like that. You know, and everybody is just like praising this bitch because she might get a little money. But if she's not fucking with no pimping, and she's not seeking no pimping, and she's open to square relationships, then she's not a hoe. A prostitute, yeah, she may be a prostitute, but she's not a hoe. You know, a hoe's mind don't even work like, let me go get a boyfriend. You know what I mean? A hoe's mind don't work like, let me get married. That's not how a hoe's mind works. A hoe's mind works like, I need some pimping in my life. That's the only type of man that I like is a pimp, because that's the only type of man that can relate to what I'm going through. That's the only type of man that can really understand me and has the stomach in the nature to accept me. Cause see, that's the thing about these prostitutes. What a lot of them won't tell you, they deal with dudes that can't really stomach what it is that they doing. You dig? And just because they giving this motherfucker some money, that don't make him no pimping, and that don't make her a hoe. You got a lot of motherfuckers. See, this is a whole nother discussion too, that I can make a whole nother video about. But like I say, just because a bitch is giving her money to a motherfucker, that don't make him no pimping. And see, one thing that in my eyes is a dead giveaway that a motherfucker ain't no pimping is when a motherfucker get mad at the fact that somebody's sweating his bitch. See, a pimp has the stomach for that. Like me, if I got to hold down, you could sweat that bitch to the end of time. I'm not gonna feel no type of way about it. I'm not gonna get upset. I'm not gonna come up to you like, hey P, that's my bitch. Let the bitch work and all that old weird shit. That's not no pimping. And that's just me. Maybe I'm an extremist. I don't know. But what I do know is that ain't got nothing to do with no pimping. And just because a bitch is giving her money to a motherfucker like that, that doesn't make that bitch a hoe. That don't make her no hoe just because she giving her motherfucking money to some dude. It's a lot of renegades, and you ain't gonna hear too many motherfuckers say this type of shit. It's a lot of renegades giving their money to a motherfucker every night, but they still a renegade. It's a lot of motherfuckers breaking themselves to a motherfucker that say he a pimp every night, but she's still a renegade because that motherfucker ain't no pimping. And see, just because you giving your money to a motherfucker, that don't mean that you a hoe, and that don't mean that you not a renegade. If you giving a motherfucker some money that's not the pimping, you're still a renegade. That's just my take on the situation. Everybody might not agree with Freeze. Everybody might not have the same outlook on the game that Freeze have. But that's the way I see it. Just because you might be giving your money to a motherfucker every night, that don't mean he's no pimping and you still a renegade. If he's not the pimping. If he's a husband and you breaking yourself to this husband every night, you still a renegade. If this motherfucker is selling dope or robbing people or doing whatever type of hustle on the side, and y'all bring y'all traps together at the end of the night and you match up and all that other type of, shit, you still a renegade. And he's not the pimping. Still a renegade. Which also is a prostitute. You might be selling your ass or whatever. You might be getting some donations from a trick. And yeah, that classifies you as a prostitute, but that doesn't classify you as a hoe. See, the prostitute, like I said, is somebody who gets money from a trick. She's just in the game. She's available. That makes her a prostitute. But a hoe gonna fuck with some pimping. Hoe ain't got no problem catering to a pimp neither. A lot of these bitches call themselves, again, like I said, it's more to it than just giving your money to a motherfucker and now you a hoe. No, it's more to it than that. See, a real hoe is going to be a woman at the same time. She's going to be a woman before she's a hoe. And see, one thing about women don't have a problem doing what I consider to be womanly things around the house. Like, that's just me. I know how to cook, and I like to cook, but if you a hoe, you should want to cook. A lot of bitches that call themselves hoes don't know how to cook, ain't got no desire to cook. See, it's one thing, you might not know how to cook, but you might at least be open to it. You might be willing to cook or whatever. But you got a lot of bitches that call themselves hoes, that ain't even women, that don't have no interest in cooking. That's strange to me. You might call me old school. You might call me, whatever you want to call me, but that's strange to me. A hoe that ain't got no interest in cooking, or just lazy, won't cook because she's lazy. Because you got bitches like that too. You got bitches who might know how to cook, but they don't cook because they lazy. That ain't got nothing to do with being a woman or a hoe. You got prostitutes like that, but a hoe gonna do shit like that. A hoe gonna keep the house clean. You know what I mean? A hoe ain't gonna have, food stains all over the tables and all over the floor, and it's getting dusty around that motherfucker, and a hoe just sitting there looking at that shit and just like don't feel no type of way. See, a real hoe, like I said, is a woman. And a woman is gonna have a problem being somewhere, even if she lived by herself. She might not even have a man around. That might be a motherfucking reason why. But if she has a man around, that should be that much more of an incentive. She should be that much more motivated to keep the domain clean. But even if she stayed by herself, a real hoe or a woman, she's not going to just be at the crib and she just sees filth accumulating and she don't feel no type of way to the point where she get up and do something about it. A lot of these bitches is cool having a bunch of dirty ass laundry all over the place, sink full of dirty ass dishes, old food sitting around, the trash can overflowing and stinking and all that type of shit. Might have some dirty diapers in that motherfucker. Like, a lot of bitches is cool with that type of shit. A lot of bitches will wait until every dish in the house is dirty and they ain't got no clean dishes available before they start washing dishes. A lot of bitches will wait until the trash can is overflowing and trash is falling on the motherfucking floor before they go take the trash out. You dig? A lot of bitches will wait until the floor is sticky and you can't even walk on that motherfucker without your feet getting suctioned to the motherfucking floor before they sweep and mop in that motherfucker. You know what I mean? A lot of bitches will wait until they motherfucking shower got a ring around the bottom of that motherfucker and is filthy as hell before they wash that motherfucker. Before they clean the shower and the tub. You dig? But a hoe is gonna keep all that type of shit in order. You know what I mean? Because a hoe is a real woman. Prostitute, it's possible for a prostitute to be a woman, but it's not necessary for you to be a woman in order to be a prostitute. But in order to be a hoe, it's necessary for you to be a woman first. Because a hoe is gonna keep the house in order as a woman should. You dig? Like I said, me, I like to cook. I don't have no problem cleaning. I keep shit clean. You know what I mean? Like here, if I ain't got no bitch staying with me over here, best believe this area is gonna be clean. Like if I show you around this room right now, you gonna see that it's clean. And I'm right as we speak, I'm here by myself. Now, you know, that's just how I tend to move. You know what I mean? I usually, if I'm staying in a room, I'm usually by myself. But, you know what I mean? If I'm staying in a room with a bitch or something like that, or if I come over to a bitch's room, you know what I mean, for whatever reason, the bitch room is if she fucking with me and she's representing me, she's gonna be a reflection of me, her joint gonna be clean. Her joint gonna be clean. You know what I mean? She's gonna have it in order and whatever it is that I want to be in order, that's how it's gonna be. Cause a hoe is gonna do what's necessary in order to please her folks. She gonna do whatever's necessary in order to please the pimping. So I don't smoke, but let's just say I did smoke. You know what I mean? And the bitch know that I like to smoke. when I come over to her joint, she gonna have a blunt roll for me, you know what I mean? Or if she knows a certain type of food that I like, she gonna have that shit ready for me. You know, that's just shit that a hoe gonna do. You know what I mean? It's no different from a square woman. You know this doing everything in her power to please her man, just like the man is doing in return. You know, he's worthy of it. He's proven himself to be worthy of that type of shit. You know, it's no different. But like I say, the prostitute, that's not a necessary thing. You could be a nasty ass, lazy ass bitch and still be a prostitute. You could be a nasty ass, lazy ass bitch giving your money to a man and still be a prostitute, which is also a renegade. You can still be that. But if you're going to say that you're a hoe, there's a lot to living up to that title than what a lot of bitches portray. You know what I mean? The way a lot of bitches project themselves and present themselves is contrary to what RHGO really is. What it really means for it to really be some hoeing going on. A lot of bitches live contrary to that. And see, that's the problem with the game. See, it's just different now. See, now, in order to be respected in the game as a hoe, all you got to do, you could be a bitch, and I've said this before, it could be a bitch that ain't nobody seen nowhere. Ain't nobody seen this bitch on the track nowhere. Ain't nobody seen this bitch in the casino. Ain't nobody even seen this bitch in the strip club. Ain't nobody ran into this bitch at no bar. Ain't nobody seen this bitch at a hotel going to pay for her room. Like, nobody has ever seen this bitch nowhere down nowhere. Right? But because this bitch got an IG account and she might show her body and she might be a cute little bitch with a decent looking body and all that type of shit, and she makes some videos counting some money, you know what I mean, playing Lil Pump in the background, and she might show some pictures of a little scruffy little Pomeranian or some shit like that, and some red bottoms in a Louis bag or something like that. Nowadays, that's all it takes for, and with all of that, she's screaming RHGO. That's all it takes for motherfuckers in the game to respect that bitch as a real hoe. But nobody even knows if this bitch has done an ounce of hoeing. She just saying it, and she's showing some money. But ain't nobody even seen this bitch down. Don't nobody even really know this bitch. But everybody in the game gonna respect that bitch as a hoe because she got some money, or at least she's making it look like she got some money, because the bitch might not even really have no real money for real though. You know? And definitely ain't got no pimping in her life. But like I say, that it takes more than that to be really respected in the game and classified as a hoe. See, like I said, it's different now. That's how it is in today's times. That's all it takes to be respected. But see, once upon a time, in order to be respected in the game as a real hoe, you had to actually be seen in motion. You know, people respected you by the way that you conducted yourself, as well as your game and your ability to break a trick for everything. Like, motherfuckers would just see you maneuver, the way that you stay in pocket when P sweats you. You not getting disrespectful. You not spitting on the ground. You not cussing pimping out. You not talking crazy to the pimping. You doing what a hoe's supposed to do. See, that's another thing. But like I said, that's how hoes got respect in the game prior to the social media era. Prior to the social media era, like they say with long division when you was in elementary school, remember how they had long division and you couldn't just come with the answer? You know what I mean? When, at least when I was in elementary school, I think it was like third or fourth grade, something like that. When we was doing long division, we couldn't just come with the answer. You know what I mean? The teacher was gonna be like, "You got to show." There go Jay Evans. Exactly. You got to show your work. You know what I mean? How did you get to this? How did you get to this answer? You know, it's the same thing with a hoe. You can't. Back in the day, you couldn't just show up on the set and say that you was a hoe. Even the other hoes that's down, they not finna. They gonna be like, well, shit. You say you really home, man. We ain't seen nothing. You know, that's really how it was. You had to show your work. You had to prove what you was saying. You had to back it up. Nowadays, you ain't got to back up nothing that you say. You can say whatever you get on the internet, say whatever you want, pretend to be whatever you want, and motherfuckers is just gonna respect you. You did. But again, speaking of the hoe versus the prostitute, when it comes to getting sweated and staying in pocket, see, the prostitute is the one. She might be giving her money to a motherfucker, and she might be down every night, you know, selling her pussy or whatever the case. But if she gets sweated by the pimping, and her response to that or her reaction to that is disrespect, talking crazy to him. You know, like I said, I've seen bitches spit on the ground when they when they being sweated, getting disrespectful in that type of fashion, or some bitches even in the casino they might bust a police move and bring the draw the attention of the security or the police when they getting sweated. That's not no hoe. And if you a nigga that accept that type of shit, you know what I mean? When a pimp come up to you and say, hey man, you know this bitch, I was sweating her pee, you know what I mean? And bitch put the police on me, man. A lot of these old weird ass niggas is just gonna accept that shit. It ain't gonna be no type of consequence. See me, I'm gonna be done with a bitch like that. If I find, you know, incontestable facts that this bitch called the police on this man and put the police on him, and she called herself fucking with me, it's over with. Because now I understand that you have that in you. And if you have that in you, given the right circumstance and having the right, like I said, pressure put on, you know, shit, you might do the same thing to me. And I'm not gonna bless you with that opportunity. And speaking of pressure, right? That live video that I put up the other day, is that whole busted pipe or a diamond? Pressure will tell. The video got deleted, but I'm in the process of, or it got removed, I should say. I'm in the process of getting it restored, getting it reinstated. For some odd reason, that's been happening to me a lot when I go to upload a video, or if I go live or something like that. The most recent video before that will get deleted. This is the third time in the past month or so that that's happened to me. I don't know why it keeps happening. I was thinking that it was my old phone. This is a new phone that I'm using right now. Same problem. I don't know why it's happening, but it's happened again. But hopefully by later tonight or tomorrow, that video, that live, the last live that I did where I had the red shirt on and the afro, hopefully that video will be restored by tomorrow. So let me read some of these comments, catch up on what y'all talking about. You dig? Right, Forceville said you had to show your damn work. You know, and pimping as a teacher in today's times, we gotta make these hoes show they work. That's funny. You already know my get down, man. Freeze don't acknowledge the haters. This the one place on YouTube where you could be all the hater that you want to be. You can, if you a hater, you know what I mean? Because it might be a hater in the comment section, just like sitting back, just like, so suck ass nigga Freeze, man. Can't stand this nigga, man. This motherfucker ain't no damn pimp. Look, if you're that kind of hater and you just sitting back being quiet, you ain't got to bottle up all that hatred. You can release the hatred up in here. You gonna be all right. Ain't nobody gonna snipe your hater comments down. You know, ain't nobody gonna block you. You gonna be able to see all this glorious ass motherfucking pimping. It's a buffet of shit. You know, so all you can see buffet of this glorious pimping. You know what I mean? Get your eyes filled. You know what I mean? Get you, you know, as much as you want to see of this shit, it's right here. As much as you want to hear, so all you can hear buffet of this game. You know, so you could tune all the way in. You could be all the hater that you want to be, say what you want to say. You still will not get blocked from this pimping. You still gonna be able to see all the pimping. You know what I mean? And you can still whatever you want to steal from the pimping. I know I'm the originator of it, whatever it is that I say and do and display. But if you want to steal from me, you know, go right ahead. You can be all the hater that you want to be. You ain't got to keep your hater comments to yourself, man. They gon' yeah, you gon' I'm gonna let you be great with the hate. You know what I mean? You ain't gonna have that story like, man, I was over there trying to hate on Freeze, man. He wouldn't let me be great. Freeze gonna let you be great. I'm gonna let you live. You know what I mean? I'm gonna let you exercise your First Amendment right up in here. The freedom to express all your hatred. Not just a little bit of your hatred. You can express all the hatred. You know what I mean? You ain't gonna get no airplay from Freeze. Freeze ain't gonna acknowledge you. You know what I mean? Freeze ain't gonna, you know, it ain't like no type of hater acknowledgement time where, you know, where I point out a certain hater and be like, yeah, go ahead, stand up. Y'all see this man? He been dedicated with his hating. He been coming in here every time I go live. You know what I mean? And he's just shown, you know, unbelievable tenacity with his hatred. He doesn't give up, and his hatred is to be admired. Everybody give it up for this hater. Like Freeze ain't gonna. I'm not finna do that for you. I'm gonna let you live. I'm gonna let you do your thing, but I'm not gonna bless you with no type of acknowledgement though. You're gonna be able to live, but I'm not going. I'm not going. I'm just not going to acknowledge you at all. You did. But if you really want to hate, be my guest. Come in here, hate all you want, cause I know you probably really need that. Some of y'all haters, you know what I mean. If you can't really express yourself, you might do something to hurt yourself. I don't want you to hurt yourself. As much as you hate on me, I love you. I love you hating ass motherfuckers for real though. I mean that from the bottom of my ice box. I love you hating motherfuckers. Thank you, Maya Davis. I appreciate the compliment. Eric Rom, dig that. Yeah, the bow tie is it's a beautiful thing. I like the bow tie. You wear one to work, man. It sounds like you might be a distinguished gentleman like myself. That's what's up. The B code, why call the cops when you playing the game? Hey, see, again, we talking about a prostitute. See, when it comes to real hoes, or just hoes, period, a hoe understands that she's playing the game and she understands the rules of the game. And she understands that in order to survive and thrive in the game, it's best and it's wise to abide by the rules. And you know, when you true, that's that integrity that we talk about. When you true to the game, you gonna do everything within the rules of the game. But see, like I said, that prostitute, as opposed to the hoe. That prostitute likes to pick and choose certain aspects of the game and negate the aspects of the game that she don't like. So she's not gonna live completely by the rules of the game while she's trying to participate in the game. You did. So a prostitute ain't got no problem, doing police type shit. A prostitute ain't gonna respect the fact that when she's getting sweated by some pimping, that's just him doing his job. This is a pimp's job. See, a prostitute, especially these prostitutes of today's times, they have a backwards ass understanding. They think that just because a pimp is down sweating hoes, that he got to be fucked up. He got to be holus and dolus. He got to be struggling. They don't understand that this is just a pimp's job. And see, they have that type of understanding because they think that one hoe is enough, and they believe in monogamous relationships, and these are the same type of bitches that ain't never had no wifeys. These are the same type of bitches that they been the only hoe for their hoe, or the only prostitute, I should say. Excuse me, I don't mean to disrespect hoes. Excuse my pimping. But them type of bitches that have that type of belief, they never been in a household with more than one bitch. They fuck with a boyfriend, and like I said, they got their monogamous little relationship going on. They faithful to each other. The bitch ain't finna allow no other bitches to come in. Her boyfriend that she giving her money to every day understands that, respects that, and accepts that, and that's the way it is. So that's why them type of bitches think that, if you out sweating hoes, that as a pimp, you got to be holus and dolus, you got to be fucked up. I done heard bitches say weird shit like, yeah, you out here like the bitch. Why you out here sweating hoes? You must not have no bitches. And see, they don't understand that, when it's really some pimping going on, when you see a pimp presenting himself a certain type of way, this is the results of his pimping. These are the spoils of his pimping. When you see a pimp, looking fly, riding in something fly, smelling good, you know what I mean, well groomed and well dressed and tailor made and all that type of shit, that's evidence of his pimping. So if a motherfucker's presenting himself like that, then obviously he's not holus and dolus. But these bitches don't understand that type of shit. Because like I said, a big part of it is these dudes. Like I said, a lot of it traces back to the man at the end of the day. And a lot of these dudes claim to be pimps, but they got, other shit in they mix. So naturally, it's a lot of confusion going on. But yeah, that's the B code, that's the problem with a lot of bitches in the game today. They don't want to accept every aspect of the game, so some of them think it's cool to call the police. But once again, that's them prostitutes. That's not real hoes. Real hoes don't believe in calling the police. That's all. Because they understand what they signed up for, and they understand that part of what they signed up for is subjecting yourself to a sweating from the pimping. You did? So... P. Smith, that's funny. I'm glad you enjoying the convo, though. I appreciate that. Forestfield, yeah, like I said, I submitted a request. I've been through this process before. It's my third time going through it. But yeah, that video should be back up tomorrow, man. I wish I could figure out what it is that I'm doing, because it's obviously something that I'm doing that's getting my videos removed. I'm not like consciously or, you know, in, definitely not intentionally, but I'm not even conscious of what I am doing to make these videos get removed. But for some odd reason, they keep getting removed. Of course, not every time, but it's happened. This is my third time going through it. So yeah, you should definitely see that video back up tomorrow. Cause so far I haven't had a problem in getting the video reinstated. So that's funny. Yeah. Okay, let me see something. Okay. Look like we might got some action. Yeah. Let's read these comments, y'all. Excuse me, pimp. Okay, hold on. Ah, damn it. Y'all got the excuse up here, man. Uh I was gonna allow y'all to call in, but I allowed my damn battery on this watch to die. So it's probably gonna take a minute to charge. I can't guarantee it, but if we got a minute to do so, uh I'll allow y'all to call in if I can get a decent enough charge on it. James Keel say you definitely don't get this type of game in my community. Yeah, well, I appreciate that you're able to get something from it. And like I say, that's one thing good about game is that in many cases it has universal application, especially a lot of the game that we live by in this game. It can be applied to many different aspects of life, many different areas of life. Reading these comments still. Does because I see what you're saying. You said, bro, I don't think it's you. YouTube has been going through a paradigm shift where regular people and even staff are flagging content. You should feel honored. Nah, I don't see. I don't think it's being flagged. Um, well, I know it's not being flagged because each time that that's happened to me, each time that my video has been removed, when I go to that to the URL of the video, it says something along the lines of this content has been removed by the user. So it's basically it gives me a message that I deleted it, even though I'm not intentionally or consciously doing this. So I don't know what it is. Like I said, it's got to be something that I'm doing or not doing or something. I don't know what it is, but it's something that I'm doing to for that to happen. And what I've noticed, at least from what I can recall, each time that a video of mine gets removed, it's when I'm in the process of uploading a new video. So I don't understand why it keeps happening. Like I said, but whenever it does happen, if you go to a video of mine and you're trying to watch it and you see that it's not there, just give me a moment. Within 24 hours, it should be back up because it usually doesn't take any longer than a day to get the video back up. So, in the event that that happens, just be patient. Okay, the B code, you say, why do females choose pimps they don't know just because they are being sweated? See, each individual instance is unique, and that's because the pimping is unique, and each individual bitch is unique, uniquely different. So the same reason why this bitch chooses in the process of being sweated might be different from the reason why this bitch chose. See, a lot of bitches might choose just because they appreciate the persistence in the pimping. You know, some pimps are just persistent when it comes to getting at a bitch. And a lot of times, like I say, acknowledgement is encouragement. So you got certain bitches that might be green or they might just be out of pocket or whatever the case is, they give some type of acknowledgement to the pimping. Now, for instance, like myself, a couple nights ago, I'm popping at this bitch. She ain't necessarily getting out of pocket with me, but she's smiling and looking me in the eye every time I say something and ride past and get to popping pimping at her. She was with like a couple other bitches, you know what I mean? But the point is she acknowledged me. So that acknowledgement is encouragement. Now, um, my persistence wasn't too extreme because me, I believe once you do all that and I throw the number out there, it's on you to catch that number, make use of that number, and then, we move from there. So, uh, but you got other cats who, in that type of situation, they gonna stay at the bitch until they have the bitch, and maybe in the bitch's mind, she's just waiting for a reason to be given enough for her to want to make a move. Maybe in that case the other night, even though I believe I gave her enough of a reason to make a move with me, she might not see it that way. She might have been waiting for me to jump out the car and be like, bitch, get your ass in. Whoop, whoop. Some bitches just like a motherfucker to take charge like that. I wasn't finna do all that. You know what I mean? But you got some cats who will, and maybe that's the type of cat that bitch was waiting on. I don't know, because some bitches will move in that type of instance. Because like I said, acknowledgement is encouragement. And if a bitch ain't trying to choose and has no intentions to choose, ain't open to choosing, then she should stay all the way in pocket. But see, you got, especially in California, the way a lot of P's in California get down is if they ride past too many times and, this bitch is, smiling every time he ride past and, the bitch looking him dead in the eye. And when he say something that she think is funny, she laugh and all this whole type of shit. You know, certain P's is like, oh man, I'm finna get out on this bitch. You know what I mean? I'm finna go get in this bitch face. And then park the car, jump out, and get on the motherfucking bitch heels and be like, yeah, bitch, what's going on? Woo, woo. I see you over there looking, you know what I mean? You really need to make a move. They'll put the pressure on the bitch in that type of fashion. And in many cases, a bitch like that is gonna move. Like me, if I would have jumped out and did that to that bitch, she probably would have made a move with me. But I'm not. That's just me. I'm not gonna do all that. Teach their own. I don't knock anybody who does do that. I just suggest that you be careful in today's times doing something like that. But Prince Powers, you funny as hell. Callie P swear if she don't run and jump over 3 fences, she's giving action. That's how some cats look at it, though. You did, but on the flip side of that same coin, that's how they train they bitches to be. Now, see, it's just certain things that just look extremely green to me. So I like, the same way they might teach a bitch. I don't teach a bitch certain things. Like one thing I'm not gonna tell a bitch ever to do, and one thing that looks extremely green to me, it's like, bitch, you ain't got no game if I see a bitch doing this, and that's running. Especially if a bitch got heels on. If a bitch got heels on, and every time a pimp try to say something to her, he might not even get a good word in. The bitch, she sprinting down the street. That shit is stupid and it's extremely green. And bitch, you gonna fuck around and fall down and break your neck or get hit by a car or some old stupid ass type of shit gonna fuck around and happen to you doing that green ass shit. You dig? It just goes to show that the bitch ain't got no game because there's a better way to handle yourself when you getting sweated by some pimping, and that's definitely not it. That's the most foolish thing that a bitch can do is run when the pimping is sweating her. Like I say, acknowledgement is encouragement. And some P's might take that as acknowledgement. Some P's might see a bitch running every time a pimp try to sweat her and be like, man, this bitch green as a motherfucker, man. She really need my pimping in her motherfucking life. Let me get out on this motherfucking bitch and get on her motherfucking heels. Now, again, I'm not gonna do no shit like that, but this is just how some cats see it, you know? To each their own. Forest Field says, hey, Freeze, on a regular, how long do you yourself pop at a bra before you need to move on? See, I don't have like a designated time frame. Like, yeah, I'm gonna get this bitch 30 seconds worth of pimping, say 30 seconds worth of words to her, and then I'm gonna move on. See, it's not so much about a time frame. It's about that does kind of have something to do with it, but it's not necessarily a designated time frame. It's more so about getting my point across. And somebody like me, a man of many words, I'm not gonna take forever to get my point across. Now, in some cases with certain bitches, it might take more words and therefore more time, depending on who it is I'm getting at and why and all this, that, and third, you know. But that's more so what it's about. Once I believe I've gotten my point across, I'm not just gonna keep going from there. You dig? I'm gonna ride past a few times, say what I got to say, you know, let a bitch know how she can reach me, and then from there, I'm gonna keep moving on to the next. On to the next. Run like Shaggy from Scooby Doo. Hold on. P. Smith said, I really don't think they have any pimps in Texas. Don't laugh, but I'm serious. Now, like Prince Power said, there's definitely some solid representation over there in that Texas. There's a few gentlemen that I got respect for over in that Texas. It's this pimping ain't a regional thing. You know, it don't. It's not. Of course, you know, different people got different views depending on what region they come from. Generally, but also generally, you know, we share the same fundamental outlook on the game when it comes to this pimping. We all pretty much share the same fundamental outlook of the game. You know, like I said before, we all got different styles of how we get down, but ultimately, you know, you'll be surprised where certain P's come from. You know, certain P's emerge from areas where ain't no pimping going on, and they might be the only pimp from that area, or that area just ain't really known for pimping, and it's only like a couple of motherfuckers that come from that area that's some pimping. You know, that's just like me, for instance, my environment that I was raised in and the people that I grew up being influenced by and seeing and looking up to and all that. You know, I didn't have no pimping in my life as a kid. You know, my story isn't the one where my dad was the pimping and my mom was a hoe. No, my parents were squares. You know, they come from the hood and everything like that, but they live square lives. You know, my pops was a hustler who always kept a job. As long as I've known, as far back as I can remember, my pops always had a job. But when he was younger, you know what I mean, when he was, especially when he was like my age, he used to get his hustle on too. You did? So my story isn't one, like I said, where I just grew up with the game in my face. Jawan Malden with the $2. Much appreciated. Greatly appreciated. Best of blessings to you. But yeah, um, it's some pimping everywhere. You never know. You can't just like say, you can't just be in a certain area in a certain region and say, oh yeah, I ain't gonna never run into no pimping here. You gonna run into some pimping just about anywhere. You know, you might see some pimping and don't even realize it's no damn pimping. Infamous motherfuckers say I remind them and sound like Exhibit. Back in the day, uh, I guess I kind of sound like him apparently because you're not the first person to tell me that. A lot of people have told me that. So, uh, and honestly, I kind of could see where people get that. Like, I think his voice is a little rougher than mine, you know. But I can see where people, you know, draw that similarity between us, the way we sound. Yeah, a lot of people done told me that since back in the day. What you think about rapper Gunplay? He supposedly was pimping for a period of time. L Vegas 702. I don't know. I don't know the man, and I never heard that. I mean, I know who he is, but I don't really know much about him outside of the fact that he raps. I know that he raps, and I know that he's from Florida, from Miami, I believe, and I know he fucked with Rick Ross, or at least he used to. I don't know if he still do. But other than that, I don't really know much about Gunplay, so I can't really speak good or bad on him participating in the game. I don't know. You know, I will say that a lot of cats, not saying necessarily him, but you got a lot of cats that get in the they start rapping, and then they get a little bit of notoriety with the rapping, and they kind of use that as leverage to knock hoes, and you know they start getting bitches, and all of a sudden they some pimping. That's not no pimping. And just because they got bitches giving them money, that don't mean that they no pimping. And them bitches definitely ain't no hoes. You know, you got a lot of rappers that do that type of shit. Cause that's just the thing. Like that's the thing that look cool in society today amongst the youth or amongst urban society. Sonya G with the $5 as usual. I appreciate you. Best of blessings to you. Yeah, you got a lot of cats this this a rapper first and try to be a pimp second. And I just don't know how to put my pimp in second at all as far as, my walk of life, what I'm about. The pimping is top priority. Now, you have certain instances where you got a motherfucker that's really some pimping and they just so happen to be blessed musically and they make rap music, but they really some pimping. You got instances of that out here in the world today, but it's only an exceptional few from what I know. It's only exceptional few. Ferocious 1980 asks, was Too Short a pimp at one time? No. Too Short wasn't a pimping. Too Short is just a guy who, you know, grew up seeing the pimping, was fascinated by the game, had an appreciation for the game, took a liking to the game, was influenced by the game, and he just rapped about his influences coming up. But no, he never was a pimp. Uh, might he have participated in some of the same activities that pimps do? If I was to take a wild guess, I would say yes. But as far as him being the pimping, no. And I'm pretty sure that he would tell you that himself. Now, player, yeah, I would classify Too Short as a player. Probably one of the coldest players. You know, Short is definitely a player. Definitely a motherfucker with some game. Now, if he would have, dedicated himself to the pimping, he probably could have been because, like I say, the thing about the pimping is that the pimping is born with certain gifts that make him greatly suited to pimp. Doesn't necessarily mean that he was born a pimp or that he was born to pimp, but the thing about the pimping is that the pimping was born with certain gifts, you know, that just make him, perfect for the game. And once a motherfucker does come into the game, I call it, him being awakened. Some people call it turnout. Some pimps say that they was turned out. I don't believe in that. Pimps don't get turned out. Some people say that the pimping is turned on. I can go with that, but I prefer to say that the pimping was awakened. It might have been something that was, dormant inside you. And when you become conscious of it, when you become aware of it, you become awakened to the game. So I say that to say, it's possible that Too Short, if he hadn't been so successful with the rapping, maybe he could have been awakened to the game. He might have had it in him. I don't know. But what I do know is he's not the pimping. And I don't say that in like a disrespectful type of way. It's a lot of people that's not the pimping. I love Too Short. Love his music. I was that little badass kid in the first grade. Like, damn, how did that shit go? Fuck, I can't remember how that shit go, man. That old school Too Short, Born to Mac. And that Life is Too Short. But I was that little ass kid in the first grade that knew all the motherfucking words to Too Short. I was that little 6 year old, 7 year old badass kid that knew all the motherfucking words of Too Short. What is life? Life is too short. I'm playing young bitches like it's a sport. Yeah, I play bitches just like y'all. Like Dr. J played basketball. Yeah, I was that little ass nigga singing that type of shit. Uh, some she gave me a blowjob. She licked my dick up and down like it was corn on the cob. I was that like I was into Too Short. When I was a kid, like one of my favorite rappers was Too Short. I was in the NWA, of course. I'm talking about like you know in the '80s when I was like real little. I was into Too Short. I was into NWA. Uh, Run DMC was the shit. LL Cool J was the shit. Uh, who else was dope back then? Yeah, those was like the main, like probably my top, you know, motherfuckers back in the day. But like I say, all that to say, like I said, I got respect for Too Short, but he wasn't the pimping though, and he's not the pimping. It ain't gonna be the pimping. Hell of a motherfucking rapper though. L Vegas 702, that player Mac Pimp uh distinction. I'm gonna make a whole nother video about that very soon. I'm gonna touch on that on a whole nother video very soon. Uh, a pimp either. I would say Ice T is more of a Mac. Ice T, I would say was a Mac. Like Ice T had bitches giving him money, prostitutes giving him money, but Ice T was more of a Mac. Like, um, I'm not gonna, I've met people in the streets that have ran with Ice T back in the days, and they say different things that he participate. Oh no, you know what? Matter of fact, I'm tripping. I think that's like public information. I think he put that out there himself. But Ice T used to be into like robbing jewelry stores. Uh, I don't know if he ever was really into the dope game like that. But Ice T was a Mac. You know what I mean? Like he wasn't like exclusive to the pimping. He wasn't like, you know, uh, I'm gonna really pimp on these hoes. It was just more so like a hustle to him, I think. Just like robbing jewelry stores was a hustle to him, having bitches was a hustle to him. So that's like I said, with that being considered, I would consider Ice T more so of a Mac. You dig? A very fly Mac though. Like Ice T was a fly ass motherfucker. When I was a kid, that like he was a fly ass dude. I admired Ice T too. He was another motherfucker that was one of my favorite rappers as a very, very little kid. I said it first. I came up under Freeze. Nigga inspired me though, you dig? Hey man, I appreciate that, man. I appreciate the fact that you can look to me for inspiration, man. I sincerely appreciate that because you don't have to do that. You don't have to see me in that light. But I appreciate the fact that you do though. Sincerely. Name some rappers that's the pimp and freeze. I'm not gonna do that because I'm just not gonna do that. I know some rappers that is the pimping, but I'm not gonna claim to be pimps. I know some that's not the pimping. I know some that are the pimping, but I'm not gonna speak on that. Read these comments, y'all. Excuse a pimp. JB says, "You ever campaign in Miami Freeze?" Yeah, and I really love Miami, man. Like Miami is a place that I really like. I actually considered moving there once upon a time, but ended up not doing it because certain circumstances in my life kind of like got in the way of me doing that. But no, I love Miami though. Miami is a beautiful place. See, what I love about Miami, beyond just the game, beyond just participating in the game, I just love Miami because it's a certain spirit. Like with me, for instance, right? Because as y'all know, I like to work out, be in shape and shit. Like Miami is just one of them places that will inspire you to be fit. Because when I came to Miami, I already was a month. Well, not the very first time, but the first time I really spent some time, because I had been there before, spent like a week here, a week there, but there was a period in time where I spent some months in Miami, and when I did that, I was already into health and fitness, and it was just real inspiring to me and motivational to me just being in that atmosphere, because there's so many motherfuckers that's in shape in Miami. There's so many motherfuckers that's in the health and fitness. Just everywhere you go, it's a lot of motherfuckers that's in shape, and it's just inspiring. And then when you go to the gym, at least that was just the way I seen it. Like in Miami, the gym is like the club. For a lot of motherfuckers, it's like a culture out there of people who on Friday night, instead of going to the club, they go to the gym. You did. That's how Miami is. Like it's that type of place. You got certain motherfuckers that did go to the gym. That's like that's their social time. You know what I mean? And that's where they go. Like the girls, they go there to appeal to the guys, and the guys go there appeal to the girls, vice versa. But I just love the atmosphere in Miami. It's a real like health and fitness type of atmosphere there. At least for me, that was one of the main things that I liked about it. Aside from the game, of course, the air of health and fitness around there. You know what I mean? Miami is the type of place that really will make a motherfucker want to get in shape. So, BJ Slugs Beats. I heard Miami got some bad females in general, look wise. I heard it's a lot of Cubans there, or it's a lot of Cubans though, and you got to know some Spanish. That's real. See, that's another thing about Miami. There's not really too many quote unquote African Americans, and there's not too many quote unquote Caucasian Americans, or typical like white people. Um, this is how it is in Miami for the most part. Anybody that's light skinned and black like me is Cuban. If you dark skinned and black in Miami, 9 times out of 10 you Haitian. If you a white person with blonde hair, blue eyes in Miami, 9 times out of 10 you're gonna be Cuban. And everybody speaks either Spanish or Creole down there. You know, I seen more people speaking Spanish and Creole down there than English. It was a trip. One time I was sitting in my car at Walmart in Miami, right? And this white dude pulled up on the side of me and he asked me something. He asked me where something was. He was like, "Excuse me, can you tell me how to find yada yada yada?" So I spoke to him and told him, where to go. And he was like, "Oh my God." He's like, "Wow, somebody who actually speaks English around here. My God, I just thought you were going to speak Spanish to me and I wasn't going to understand what you're saying. Man, I appreciate you." Like, that's how motherfucking Spanish, and, Spanish, of course, more so. It's a lot of people that speak Creole down there too, but everybody speaks Spanish. So in Miami, like, I think Spanish is more crucial to know in Miami than California. Like, a lot of people think that, California is one of them places that you really should know Spanish, and it is. Like, you'll be at a great advantage if you know Spanish here in California. But Miami, it's like damn near like a necessity. Like, you really at a disadvantage if you don't know Spanish in Miami. If you in Miami and you don't know no damn Spanish, you kind of like you missing out on a lot. You really should like have your Spanish on point in Miami. Yeah, Texas is definitely a place too where, you know, um, you really want to know some Spanish. You want to have your Spanish game on point if you in Texas. Okay, hold on. Peace kicking it at the Deuce Bar in Miami. You already know. Trade secrets, man. Hold on. Oh wait, hold up. All right, I'm about to open this phone line up so y'all can call and ask some questions, man. Let me get the setup in order. Hold up. Oh shit. Hold on. Okay. All right. Somebody do me a favor, put this number in the comment section. 818-331-8520. JB, to answer your question, yes, I do give that kind of game for any kind of situation pertaining to things like that. Yeah. But yeah, y'all can go ahead and call in if you wish to ask questions. Call in, talk to a pimp. I'm ready for you. Don't be scared. Go ahead and call a pimp. Talk to a pimp. Pimp gonna talk back to you now. Rob Carpenter say Project Pet, not the P, but he is a businessman though. Yeah, that's another individual who I really don't know much about outside the music. Hey, what's going on?
What's going on, Captain? You good?
Oh yeah, absolutely. How about yourself?
Am I? So yeah, I'm just calling about the topic. You were saying prostitute versus hoe, but I'm seeing that strippers they're like kind of like hoes too, but they don't really have game. They don't really follow the rules. So I want you to elaborate on that if you could.
The strippers. Uh, well, it is possible for a stripper to be a hoe, but it's not a requirement of a hoe to be a stripper. You know what I mean? But a stripper could be a prostitute as well. You dig? Now, of course, in the strip club, it's a lot of stuff going on, man. It's a lot of stuff that's gonna these dudes kind of weird. They fuck with these types of bitches. You know, just like if you go to the track, if you go to the casino, um, wherever it is that you go, in the strip club included, it's a high likelihood that most of the bitches in there is gonna be either prostitutes or just plain strippers. You know, uh, it's very you got a very slim chance of a bitch in the strip club having the etiquette of a hoe. You know, it's just a slim chance of that. But
So would you send one of your hoes into the strip club if you were doing this?
this is just me personally. No, I'm not gonna send a bitch into the strip club. No.
Is it guaranteed to lose your hoe? If you had a hoe doing regular shit like track, telly, if you send it to the strip club, is it guaranteed you lose that hoe?
Well, I mean, nothing is guaranteed in the game, but I'll say this: there's a lot of distractions in the strip club, and if you want a bitch in the strip club doing her thing and fucking with you at the same time, she has to be a very strong-willed young lady. Because like I said, there's a lot of distractions in that club, and anybody who has had that experience knows what I'm talking about. She gonna have to be a strong-willed bitch. If she's a very impressionable type of female, meaning if she's a very easily influenced type of female, then it's a high likelihood that you're gonna lose her in the strip club. It's a high likelihood that she's gonna befriend the wrong type of bitch or the wrong group of bitches. And it's also a high likelihood that she's gonna run into the wrong type of guy that's gonna be the right type of guy for her desires, but the wrong type of guy for her as far as uh, being being healthy to her and being an asset to her. You know, yes, it's a high likelihood of losing a bitch in the strip club. It's a lot to deal with.
Yeah, I could dig that. I respect that answer. Respect. Appreciate
Appreciate
that,
it.
P.
I appreciate that. Oh, he just hung up. Okay. All right. Yeah. You know, like Boss P say, the average stripper will deal with anything besides a P. That's the realest motherfucking talk. You know. Hold on. Hey, hey.
It's good, Freeze.
What's poppin'? Who we got on the line?
Shit, it's soul not told. Straight out of DC.
Sold Not Told out of DC. What's going on with you, man?
Some much, man. Just watching pop in this game, having some dinner and shit, relaxing.
I dig it. I
Respect
dig
what you're
it.
doing, man.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, yeah. But I thought the conversation was pretty funny talking about these strippers and shit. But
Yeah.
I always wonder, man. A lot of things don't really talk about. But what is your opinion? What I'm saying, setting up your students with the sugar daddy type of trick. You know what I'm saying? The trick that always keep coming back.
Well, I'll say this. Situation, a young lady dealing with that type of clientele. But just been my experience. What happens a lot of times is, you know, it creates a certain climate of comfortability with this bitch. You dig? And then also in many cases it creates that climate of comfortability is shared with that trick. And a lot of
Exactly.
times, because motherfuckers will call him a sugar daddy, but at the same time, at the end of the day, he's still just a trick. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
He might be a big spender type of trick, but a lot of times, bitches will lose sight of the fact that this is a trick. More than the average he's gonna have, but it usually comes a point in time where he starts expecting more. You know what I mean? And a lot of times, like I said, just been my observation and my experience. A lot of times, them types of dudes will try to play a bitch out of position. You know what I mean? They'll start
Exactly.
developing personal feelings for the bitch, and you know, uh, it might even be a situation where this man is married and got a family that he tends to, and then you might have situations where he doesn't have a family that he tends to. But whatever the case may be, these types of dudes have a tendency to want to play a bitch out of her position. So my thing, I think the best thing to do would be in them types of situations to play it for as long as it lasts, where it's on the bitch's terms. The moment that the sugar daddy, quote unquote, starts trying to dictate the situation, then that's when it's about to self destruct, and it's best for this bitch to try to move on, or she might try to she might be able to stretch it out and make it last a little longer. But just based on what I've seen, that's how them types of situations usually turn out. I've seen so many households broken up, you know what I mean, because of a sugar daddy and the bitch, getting on some personal shit. And then the cold thing about it,
Exactly.
these same types of situations, like I got somebody in mind right now who went through something like that. Actually, I got a couple people in mind right now that went through things like that, where they bitch might have had this sugar daddy, and she might have had him for a year, 2 years, or whatever the case may be. But it always comes a point in time where, like I said, they start getting on some personal shit, and then the bitch, by her being comfortable with this sugar daddy, she starts telling him personal business about her household and what's going on in there, and um, you know, that'll start causing problems in the household. Next thing you know, the trick done played this bitch all the way away from the pimping, and then um, once he done played her away from the pimping, he plays her away from himself, and the bitch ends up dusted and disgusted by herself, ain't got nothing going on. As Sinful would say, the bitch is singing Deborah Cox, "How Did I Get Here?" You know what I mean? And she's sitting there fucked up
Facts.
and lost and don't even know how she ended up where she is. And by this
Then you want to
point,
try to come back to the pivot after.
right, and by that point, you know what I mean? The pimping don't even want to fuck with you.
Exactly. Get just them fagged up. But
Yeah.
I agree, man. That's why I take a real strong, laced-minded bitch to handle some shit like that. Because they're
Oh
doing
yeah.
this rare these days, especially with everything going on. But yeah, I just wanted your opinion on that because a lot of representatives don't really talk about that shit, that aspect of the game. So
Yeah,
really bring some
some
clarity.
some other cats might have a different opinion. To each their own. It all depends on that particular individual's outlook. But it doesn't. It's not to say that my outlook is the only correct outlook. You dig? But to each their own.
Exactly. Well, yeah, I just wanted to show homage to you. Keep doing your thing. Like, you just keep it 100 all the time, and I fuck with it.
I appreciate that.
Much respect.
So not told. So be blessed.
You too.
So damn. I tried to answer that call. Uh, hold on. Okay, here you go. Hey, hey. Hello? don't know if it's a malfunction with your phone or something, but I'm not able to hear you. Get it together. Hit me back. I don't know what the problem was. Hey, hey. Hello. Damn, is it my phone? Is it a problem? Oh, wait. Hello.
Hey, Freeze, this Forcefield, man. What's going on?
Hey, what's going on with you, man?
Ain't nothing. Hey, I'm going to ask you a question. I'm going to get off and let you answer it.
Okay.
But I know this cat. Major chick. And he brag about being a trick, and he cool with it, right?
Right.
But I done put this cat on a few females that just wanted to get down because they was looking for a good time.
Right.
But this cat, he ain't want nothing to do with him. So I'm thinking in my head, this nigga scared of any broad that he can't trick with. And if she just want a piece of the nigga and not his paper, then she puts the nigga to flight. I want you to give your opinion on that. I'm going to hang up and listen to you.
All right, for sure.
All right.
All right. Yeah. Well, it sounds like that dude is a pure and proud trick. Like you said, he brags about it. And it sounds like he's like a true to the heart trick. And see, a true to the heart trick, and certain tricks will even tell you this type of shit. You know, they like to pay a bitch to leave. You know, they don't want to, after they have sex with the bitch or do whatever they do with the bitch, they don't want to sit up and, you know, cuddle, or they don't want to hear about the bitch's problems, or they don't want to get too personal with this bitch and get to the point where, you know, they start having arguments or just, you know, the regular shit that people go through in relationships. You know, a lot of tricks don't want to deal with that type of shit. A lot of tricks just want to do the wham bam, thank you ma'am, pay the bitch to leave. You know what I mean? So that's what it sounds like he is. He's that type of guy. And, you know, maybe that's a thrill of his. And it's kind of like taking the fun out if he tries to, you know, just fuck with like a regular type of girl. You know what I mean? It's funny because I got a homeboy in mind, and he's not the type that views himself as a trick. So therefore, he's not the type that's gonna brag about being a trick. But he got trick ways, right? But he's a little different than the type that you described your boy to be, right? My partner, who I'm talking about, is somebody I grew up with. He's the type that he don't feel right unless he's spending money on a bitch. You know what I mean? And if it was the type of bitch who didn't want to accept that type of shit with him, I'm already knowing he ain't gonna fuck with the bitch. You know what I mean? But some cats basically, like I said, they just natural tricks. And the dude that you talking about, he just sounds like the type that's just what he's into. You know what I mean? He's really into paying a bitch to leave. You know what I mean? Tricking accordingly. He's really into tricking accordingly, man. You know, and God bless him, because, you know, I appreciate people like that. You know what I mean? See, he's the type of dude, he not going to get personal with the bitch. He not going to try to play the bitch out of position, you know, and get into a relationship with the hoe and all that. He not trying to do all that. He just want to, you know, get his off, do what he want to do, you know, and pay the bitch to leave. Yeah, tricking accordingly, man. That's what he's doing. He's tricking accordingly, man. For real. Yeah, he's a natural, like Josh Britton says. Jeffrey Williams, appreciate the Chicago shout out, man. Much love to Chicago. I love Chicago. That's one of my favorite cities, man. Chicago's a beautiful place. I love that downtown. Downtown Chicago is like it's a dope ass place. Hey, hey. Hello?
Hey, what's going on, Freeze?
What's poppin' with you? Who this? Who we got on the line?
Yeah, this is Jay, man. I just dropped a little thing in there, man, letting you know that I used to be a talent agent for the strippers, man, and the annual players out there, man, it's just like, trying to deal with them bros in the strip clubs. Just know, man, if you don't grab them first, off, you know what I'm saying, when you first meet them, don't try to grab them up in the club, man, because they're already indoctrinated to the lifestyle, and they all fucked up in the head, man. They ain't worried about their paper, man. They're worried about getting high, getting drunk, and if you grab one off the street and you put them down, then you good.
Right.
I did that shit for like probably about 5 years, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Bringing girls into the club or whatever, and doing girls bachelor parties and shit like that.
Mm-hmm.
And man, most of them bros, man, unless you you grab them and you show them the lifestyle, man, if they're already in it, man, they just jacking their money off. You know what I'm saying? They get high, they get drunk, high, drunk, pop pills, and all that shit, and they come with a whole lot of motherfucking problems, man. I'm a square dude, and I did that shit for a living for 5 years, you know what I'm saying? 7 days a week.
Right.
5 days a week, bring girls into the club, you know what I'm saying? I used to get paid anywhere between $20 and $40 a girl.
Right.
As long as they 3 nights a week, by the clubs and shit or whatever, man. But when you drive the girls to the bachelor parties and shit like that, it's a whole other income. But unless you bring somebody in, them motherfuckers, man, they be fucked up in there. Like I said, they be fucked up, drugged out, drinked out. They already have somebody in the background, man, fucking their life up and shit like that. So
yeah,
I was fucking with them like that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I agree with you. Now I know that there's certain individuals that live very well with their people in the club, but there's an exceptional few like that.
Yeah, like you said, it's an exceptional few because I used to do bachelor parties. Talent nights, Tuesday, Fridays, and Sundays and shit like that. You go, you know what I'm saying, you hit the malls or whatever, man. You find, motherfuckers working and shit, you know what I'm saying, during the day of days. You hit them with the card, say, hey, man, you've been chosen, you know what I'm saying, you've been picked, selected to be a model. You talk to them, you let them know, hey, we got something going on this weekend over at this club, and I believe you can win. And, most of them bros, man, they don't even see that shit, too. They don't even see working in the clubs long term. They see the whole thing where you tell them, hey, you can win a contest. Right. Come in on amateur night, they win the contest.
Right.
And, all they worry about is the $500 instead of, yo, you working here for a whole week and you can make way more than that. And,
right.
Like I used to tell my girls, man, you gotta look at the dudes as they come through the door, man. You gotta sell the fantasy, man, through the eyes. You don't even have to talk. Just look at them, you know what I'm saying? To reduce them and seduce them. Let them know, man, that, hey, I'm here. You walk through the door, you sing me, I'm the first thing you sing.
Right.
You sing me, and I'm with your wife not. I'm with your girlfriend not. You sit down and, hang out with me, talk to me. And I used to tell him, man, dog, you ain't even got to fuck these motherfuckers, dog. You can sit and just talk to these motherfuckers and shit. And they will sit there and pay all motherfucking day in the strip club.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But these motherfuckers, they get high, they get drunk, They don't even.
Like I said, that's what I was telling that last caller who had mentioned something about strippers. You know, it's just a lot of distractions in them clubs, man, and that's what I
Yes,
meant.
it is.
That's what I meant when I was talking about distractions is them drugs, man. And if even if you put a bitch this unfamiliar with that type of environment,
Hey
because
man, listen. They don't even motherfucking take care of their hygiene in the motherfucking gloves, man, let alone their
oh,
mind.
believe me, I know I didn't.
Hey,
Hey, it's funny
they
because
get there like with the Bath and Body Works, smell like motherfucking sweet pips and cucumber smelling.
hey, me and Sinful got like an inside joke about this one experience that we had, man, where it was funny, man. It was this one strip club that we went into, man, and this girl, oh my goodness, talking about hygiene. She was so bad. And you know, we was being funny. We was like, cause she kept trying to talk to both of us, and we like would pass her off to the other one. You know what I mean? Like we was that shit wasn't cool though, man. That girl, whew. Yeah, I know what you talking about that hygiene shit, man. A lot of them, cause you know, like you said, a lot of them be drugged out and drinked out and all that type of shit. So when they in that type of frame of mind, you know, their judgment is clouded. So you know they not gonna
Man,
make
way
good
clouded, man. I don't even fuck with strippers like that. I go to the strip club with the homies and shit, man, but I don't fuck with strippers because I was in the industry and shit for a while. And
right.
so, man, these motherfuckers be letting niggas stick their finger in their booty and shit. Dumbass shit. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, yo, I always tell them, I say, man, listen, man, when a motherfucker comes to the door, man, you gotta look at their eyes. You gotta
Right.
attract these motherfuckers coming to the door. And then y'all sit up there and talk to a motherfucker and don't understand, man, every 3 minutes that go by, that's $20 down the drain.
Yeah, they don't look at it like that. Like you said, that a lot of them don't be focused on the money. You know, and then a lot of bitches is you know, when they don't have no structure in their life, when they don't have a foundation, a rock of a man in their life, you know, um, as long as they could barely take care of whatever they need to take care of, you know, that's all they
Man, as long
concerned
as that
about.
rent payment on the first, that phone bill paid, and they
Right.
ain't behind, they good.
Right. And they don't even think 24 hours ahead of time. Like they rent might be due tomorrow, but you know, they'll go and fuck off their money. They might even have the money to pay their rent right now. They concerned. Now they trying to hurry up and get this money together to pay their rent. Same thing with phone bills, car note, whatever it is, whatever type of bills they got. You know, they really living in the moment. They not thinking for the future. And like I said, they real easily satisfied. So like thoughts of getting ahead in the game and you know having a lot of money and you know accomplishing things and you know acquiring bigger and better shit, like they minds don't even, that's like a foreign language to them bitches.
Hey man, and it's like, I always say, man, it's like you might have the little bunny and shit with the 5 speed, shifting the stick, and then
Uh,
you got, what I'm saying, the sister and shit, man, and she flossing and bossing, man, with the fucking car, man. They have 140,000 miles on it, but they all driving down in their little respective vehicles and shit, whether it's 5 speed or flossing and bossing, man. They driving down the wrong highway, man. As
right.
y'all said, man, headed for self motherfucking destruction.
Oh yeah. Sad but true.
Man, I'm about to jump off here, man. Yo, man, Freeze, I appreciate everything you bring to the table, man. I see greatness in you, man. You seeing, you know what I'm saying, all the other, you know what I'm saying, gentlemen, man, y'all bring great wisdom, man, to all of us. And I appreciate that.
Dig that, man. I appreciate you for calling in and giving me that feedback and letting me know that, man. I appreciate that.
Yes, sir, man. You have a great, wonderful night.
You do the same. Thank you.
All right,
All
peace.
right. Peace. Okay, I think. Okay, hello.
What's going on with you, bro?
Okay, yeah, I think you had called just a minute ago, but something it wasn't cooperating. But what's going on with you?
Yeah, man, this Jay, man. But I got a question for you,
Okay.
and it's kind of relating to a situation I was in. But have you ever had a bitch die, man? Like lost a bitch to death?
No, no, I haven't. But
All right.
yeah, I know a few cats that have, and I know that's a real tragic situation, man. It's a lot to deal with, you
Yeah,
know.
man. But see, my thing is, uh, the bitch died. I ain't gonna say this because um, I was like the one when I met her, I ain't meet her on no hoe shit. I met her like a regular bitch, but come to find out she was a hoe, or
Okay.
she was a prostitute,
Right.
right? But you know, I was in her head, kind of like she'll do anything for me out the military,
Okay.
for suspicions of pimping and pandering, but I ain't never get caught though. But I was just I was out there with it.
Right. Right.
and
Right.
and motherfuckers told on me. But at the same time, you know, listening to Sinful, I wasn't a pimping. I was just a motherfucker slipped and fell on the hoe. You did, being in
Yeah.
San Diego.
Right.
But so this time around I meet the bitch and I'm like, nah, I'm not finna fuck up my shit. Because, you know, the bitch blew up on me before I knew what blowing up was. I ain't even know. You know, that's how hoes is. Hoes get drove crazy
Right.
from that shit.
Right.
But I didn't know that. You know,
Right.
so I'm just thinking like, man, what the fuck is wrong? Why this bitch keep trying to call the police on me every 5 minutes? You know what I'm saying? She trying to get a nigga in jail. I'm like, I just need to leave this shit alone, bro.
Right.
Okay?
Right.
You feel me? I ain't had no mentor, nobody telling me. I'm just going off of what the fuck I think. But you know, this time around I ain't fuck with the bitch.
Right.
And you know, the bitch will tell me like sometimes I just wanna die. Like she'll
wow.
really tell me everything she feeling.
Right.
But I'm like, I'm not finna do this because if I'm a fuck with it, I'm gonna fuck with it all the way.
Right.
So
Right.
I said I'm not finna do this. And March 20th, the bitch got somebody broke up in there. And I don't know if they broke in, I don't know if it was just a trick gone bad, a bad date.
Yeah.
But yeah, the bitch ended up getting killed, man.
Okay. Hey, let me ask. Like a minute ago, it's probably like over a year ago, probably. But Sinful
Yeah.
was live, and he had me on there, and you called in and was talking to us.
Yeah. Yeah, that was me. I was actually I was actually in class, and I was in college. I was at school.
Was you in
I
Oregon or
graduated
something
now.
like that?
A what?
Was you in Oregon?
Orville.
Oh, Orville. Okay.
Yeah, Orville, Alabama. I live in Alabama now.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I think I remember. Your voice sounds real familiar. I think I remember talking to you or you talking to Sin before, at least. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, matter of fact, the bitch I'm talking about blew up on me. She keep coming to Alabama. She found out I was in Alabama, bro. She in Alabama right now. Like from San Diego to Chicago to Alabama. This bitch was in all of them. Everywhere I go, she trying to fuck with a nigga. So I just figured it out. Like, nah, bro, you know, this shit ain't me. I like business. You did. I'm an entrepreneur.
Right.
So, you know, I was just inspired at one point in life to test it, you know, to see what the water like, you know, fuck with some hoes.
Right.
Bitches
Right.
like me. You know what I'm saying? Bitches like me, but
Right.
you know, I ain't with it. You feel me? I like the entertainment and everything, but yeah, bitches is crazy, bro. You know, I can't have no, you know. First of all, I gotta have somebody that's gonna give me the game.
Right.
You dig? But yeah, as far as not fucking with a bitch, man, talk about that.
Fucking with a bitch. What you mean? Reasons why?
Like I'm saying, like if you ain't got the game, I guess Simple be saying it perfectly sometime, man. If you ain't got the game, the best thing to do is leave the shit alone. Like, but at the same time, like I'm telling you, man, the bitch killed herself. Well, she didn't kill herself, but she eventually ended up losing her life, and that's what she wanted. And she told me that. And not too long after that, man, that show what happened to her.
Oh, so you believe like she spoke it into existence?
Yeah, she did, no doubt about it. And at the same time, she ain't had no. She was just out there, you know what I'm saying? She ain't had no pimping in her life, really.
Right.
She ain't had, and even if it was me, and like I said, ain't no pimp, but I'd have gave a bit some instruction, you know what I'm saying? It would have been something.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
But
don't
talk
know.
about,
Oh, you saying basically like a reason why not to fuck with a bitch, like basically the situation you dealing with right now, where the one you said she keep ending up wherever you are.
nah, she ain't ended up. She know what she at. She called me. She hit me up on every social media shit I got. You know.
Right. Yeah, I mean, in that type of situation, like you said, a bitch, calling the police and things like that, man. You know, like I say all the time, when you stand for less, you fall for more. You know, and if you don't stand on principles, then you're gonna fall for a lot of bullshit. You know, so that's really what it's about. You know, uh, being a man of integrity, man, and keeping in mind your values, the things that are important to you. You know, that's where your what your values are. Once you got a clear concept of what your values are, then you start to surround principles around that. You know what I mean? Things that you standing on, things that you stand for, like basically policies for yourself and how you move, what you're gonna accept and not accept. You know what I mean? Requirements in a female dealing with you, and this goes beyond the game. This is just on some man shit. You know, just being a man of integrity. And if you value your freedom, you're gonna have certain principles when it comes to your freedom. And if you got a female that doesn't value your freedom the way that you do, you know what I mean? Or she might not even value her own freedom or whatever the case may be, but she doesn't value it the way that you do. She's not gonna abide by those principles the same way that you do. So if you try to move forward with somebody like that, then you're gonna be compromising. And that's the last thing you want to do is compromise. Because it's like what's the gain in that? If you compromise to deal with this bitch, like initially it might seem like a good idea because you're thinking about the instant gratification, whatever that may be. If the instant gratification is some money, then that's what it is. If the instant gratification is some sex, then that's what it is. But like I said, if you accept that knowing that she doesn't value your freedom the same way that you do, and therefore she's not going to abide by your principles, then you pretty much going to be compromising. So it's really a matter of standing on your principles and keeping your integrity in mind. It's easy sometimes to get thrown off track. Like I said, when that instant gratification is right there, like if it's some money, the money is right there. And that coupled with your circumstance probably not being where you want it to be, it might seem like a good idea right now, but you just gotta, your integrity is gonna talk to you. You know what I mean? It's gonna let you know what to do and what not to do. And sometimes us as men, I've been guilty of it myself as well, where we might disregard them signs. But when you question it on whether or not you should accept a female or deal with a female, it's usually a reason why. It's usually them red flags go up for a reason. You dig? And what you got to keep in mind is, you're going to be blessed ultimately for standing on your principles and not compromising. You dig? It might not seem like it right now, and it might not happen immediately, but ultimately you're gonna be blessed for it. So,
Real shit. Man, I appreciate you, bro.
it's all good. I appreciate you as well, Jay.
Hey, I'm gonna ask you this right here, and I'm gonna hang up, man.
All right, go ahead.
Talk about. I don't know if I missed it. I don't know if you talked about it before, man. Talk about how you came into the game, man. How you came into it. How you knew that the game was for you.
You know what? That's let me see. Oh damn. I see you hung up. But nah, you know what, Jay? I'm gonna save that for another video because um, that's a story that I would like to go in depth with. So um yeah, I definitely want to touch on that. And that was a great question. I appreciate you asking that question. But yeah, I'm gonna save that for another video. Definitely gonna touch on that though. You dig? But um, I'm gonna cease calls right now because this battery is on the low. You dig? Like I was saying initially, it was really my bad because I didn't have the battery charged up to begin with. So we're gonna chill on the calls for right now. And in just a minute, I'm gonna end this video. Let me read these comments a little bit and see if there's any questions I might have missed. Hold on. Hold on. Boss P says, depending on the one, then you have to, or then you have, I guess you meant to say, have to realize if you're able to handle what comes with dealing with her. The pivot is the solution to whatever the bitch problems is. And if she's serious about having a solution in her life, you know, meaning she's serious about replacing the problem with the solution or, dealing with the problem with the solution, then yeah, it just might be worth it to fuck with the bitch. You know, uh, certain bitches be, like you say, emotionally damaged. And that's why it's always good to take time to understand a bitch's background. That's once you determine for yourself that this is possibly somebody that you want to move forward with, then yeah, you want to take time to understand her background. Like me myself, that's one thing that's extremely vital to me, excuse me, in my campaign now. It's imperative for me to understand the bitch's background, understand how she was raised, get an idea as far as, things that she might have went through in her childhood, so I can understand how she sees life now and the reason why she sees life that way. You dig? And if there's some compatibility there, it might be some emotional damage within that, but if she, like I said, if she's serious enough about having a solution in her life, then the pivot is definitely gonna give it to her. Like I was saying before, I'm the type of guy that practices what I preach. So it's not like a situational type of thing with me. Just like I was speaking on earlier about, the possibility of a pimp not having a car, and, is that a bad look for a bitch to want to fuck with somebody that don't have a car? And the answer to that is no. That alone, the fact that a P don't have a car don't make it, a bad look for a bitch to fuck with him. That might be the best blessing in disguise. And just like I'm saying that, when it comes to the bitch might Just like that pimp might not have a car, this bitch might have, you know, some certain emotional damage that needs to be repaired, you know, or worked on. You dig? And she might have other kind of problems or whatever the case may be. But I would rather deal with a bitch who has problems but sincere about correcting those problems than a bitch, you know, that she her money might be cool, but she got some real serious problems and she's not even conscious of what these problems are, and therefore she doesn't want to deal with these problems. You know what I mean? Like an alcoholic, for instance. You know, this bitch might get a whole bunch of money, but she's a raging alcoholic and she get belligerent and stupid and get to tripping, you know, and causing problems and jeopardizing her freedom and jeopardizing her life, you know, uh, behind this alcohol. And she doesn't see it to be a problem, so therefore she's not even concerned about the solution. But she get money though. You know, rather than deal with a bitch like that, I'd rather deal with a bitch who got an open mind. She might have certain problems, you know, but she's serious about implementing a solution to these problems and turning these weaknesses into strengths. You did, and you know, basically dealing with the problem. If it's a bitch that's willing to deal with the problem, then I'm gonna be open to fuck with somebody like that. That's just be myself. Forestfield says, hold on. Freeze, when you meet badass square bras with game that want to be with you, how do you respond? Just curious. Well, I'll say this, man. Like, me, I don't come with, like I've said before, I don't come with smoke and mirrors. You know, there's no manipulation with me. You know, so I'm gonna be straight up with a bitch. A bitch is gonna know what it is when she get to dealing with me. That's gonna be established early in the game. So with that in mind, the only way that it's gonna work, like one of us is gonna have to be on the other's wave. And even if I wasn't the pimping, even just as a man, I'm not gonna get on this bitch's wave. You know, like I was talking with a young partner of mine about that. You know, I was just letting him know because I know him, so uh, I know his experiences. And one thing with him is he's had a history of riding the bitch's wave. You know, whatever the bitch is on, he kind of like be on that too. You know what I mean? Instead of getting the bitch to follow his lead. You know, and that's the way I see it. Is like if you riding the bitch's wave, you really following the bitch's lead. You just kind of like going along with whatever she wants you to go along with. And um, the individual who I'm talking about, that's kind of like his story. You know, he's had a history of riding the bitch's wave, and I've never seen a case up until that point in time when we was addressing that, where you know he might meet a bitch and it's like, okay, she got this, that, and the third going on. It's like, okay, that's cool, but you know, this is what I'm on. And in order for us to move forward, you know, this is what we're gonna have to be on. You dig? And if you don't want to be on that, then we're not gonna move forward. You know, that's the way I operate. So I say all that to say, with the square with me, and I'm gonna be dictating the situation. I'm gonna be, you know, dictating the pace, you know, and setting the tone and setting the direction as to where we gonna go. You know, I'm gonna be the GPS to success. You know, so I'm gonna be the one navigating, and she might be a square, with some game, but if she want to fuck with me, she's gonna have to be a hoe that's gonna be ready to receive some more game from me, because I don't give a fuck what it is. Like, I ain't met a bitch yet that got, when it comes to this game, I ain't met a bitch yet that got more game than me, and I don't even think that bitch exists. So um, the bitch gonna have to ride my wave, square or no square. If she a square, that's real. What you saying? The B code says sometimes it's not the background as a child. It could stem from adulthood. That's real talk, because um, that's just the way I see it. We have an upbringing, in childhood, and then you know uh, in adulthood too. Of course, your childhood is going, despite whatever walk of life you choose, despite whatever road you choose to go down, your childhood is going to have some sort of influence on your adulthood. So your childhood is going to speak to a certain degree for your adulthood, but at the same time, we acquire things within our adulthood, that might not necessarily speak for that childhood. So yeah, I agree with what you're saying. Certain things could stem from that adulthood. I see the interesting things taking place in this comment section. Green Money asked a very simple but a very good question. I like it. So, what's the purpose of listening to the pimping? Just curious. Well, as a hoe, you know, the pimping is going to be your greatest asset. You know, the pimping is going to do everything in its power to elevate a hoe, to bring the absolute best out of a hoe. So the pimping is going to take the pimping is going to take time and apply the necessary effort to really understand this bitch, to really understand what type of woman she is, why she is the way that she is. you know like I say all the time, before you could prescribe a solution, you got to diagnose what's going on. So the pimping is going to assess what's going on by taking time, like I said, to understand this young lady, and then from there he's going to understand how to bring the best out of her, because he's going to be paying attention to strengths and weaknesses, and characteristics, so on and so forth. So this is what some real pimping is going to do, with a hoe. So if this gentleman is paying attention and taking time to understand her maid to her home, then she should want to listen to somebody like that. Especially an individual who might be proven in the game. But even if it's a young, fresh pea in the game, if it makes sense and what he's saying is specific to this young lady, then she should want to listen to somebody like that. You dig? And then if she listens to somebody like that, takes heed to what he's saying, and it proves itself to be, beneficial, then she should want to continue to listen to somebody like that. So, yeah. then the thing about the pimping, like I say all the time, the pimping just has something in him that resonates with hoes like no other man can. You know, the pimping just knows how to connect with a bitch in a way that no other man can. You know, a big part of the reason for that is because the pimping understands the nature of a hoe. The pimping understands what a hoe goes through, and he fully accepts a hoe for who she is and what she is, and fully respects a hoe as she is, you know, completely, unconditionally. The pimping is going to really accept this bitch for who she is. Like a square's not going to be able to do that. You got even certain motherfuckers that's really squares at heart, squares by nature, but they try to portray themselves as peas. But one thing that's going to be a telltale sign of this motherfucker not being no ism is, you know, when it comes to certain things, you know, it's a trip. You got certain motherfuckers that call themselves peas, and I was having this conversation with somebody not too long ago, but you got certain motherfuckers that just like, they hate bitches. You know what I mean? And their idea of pimping is like a vengeance type thing. It's like, this bitch broke my heart, so now I'm finna pimp on these bitches, and this is my way of getting back at these bitches. But pimping is not like a vengeful type thing. You know, that's not how I take vengeance on bitches. You know, the B code, you say it's scary, but it's some like that. Some people actually will. You know, they call themselves P's. But Josh Britton, pay back to P. That's real talk. You got certain motherfuckers that's really like that. You know what I mean? And you know, that ain't got nothing to do with the ism. That ain't got nothing to do with the pimping. But I say that to say those guys that are like that, right? Um, when they dealing with a bitch, you know, it's not genuine. And this bitch might say something or do something to piss this motherfucker off, and he'll like attack her hoeing. You know what I mean? Instead of attacking her, you know, like he's gonna attack her in a square type of way. Forest Field, I wasn't gonna say that, but you said it already. I wasn't gonna point the finger at nobody, but he's not the only one that thinks that way. But he did. You ain't telling no lies. He did say that. He did. The way I see it, if you in the game for those reasons and you have that type of outlook on hoes, it's not a genuine connection there. You know, you don't really have no good intentions for this bitch. Your whole mindset is, I'm gonna run this bitch into the ground. I'm gonna mash on this bitch. I'm gonna dog this bitch and get what I can while I can and get what I want and fuck with this bitch. Want like, that's not the pimping. You know what I mean? Now, of course, you're not gonna drink this bitch's bath water or no shit like that. Be a simp to the bitch, but at the same time, your purpose in this bitch's life shouldn't be to dog this bitch and run the bitch into the ground and all that other type of weird. Like that's strange to me. But you got certain motherfuckers in the game that's like that. But um, again, like I say all that to say, you know, motherfucker like that ain't got no good intentions for the bitch. So bitch ain't got no business listening to a motherfucker like that. You know, bitch shouldn't want to listen to a motherfucker like that. You know, but the that's like I said, that's the beautiful thing about the pimping. The pimping ain't got no hatred for no hoes. The pimping got pure appreciation for the bitch. So because he has pure appreciation for the bitch, not just what she does for him, but just the nature of a hoe. Like me, I just like a hoe is a beautiful thing to me. You know, I just appreciate what they do, what they about. You know what I mean? Uh, I just appreciate everything about hoes. Like sometimes I can't even really put it into words. You know what I mean? As eloquent as people may think I am, man. I just really appreciate hoes, everything about them. You know, so with that in mind, when I'm dealing with a hoe, it's nothing but love. You know, of course it ain't gonna always be flowers and rainbows and no shit like that. You know, we gonna have times where we might be off key with each other, but um, I ain't got nothing but love for hoes. When I'm dealing with a hoe, it's done all with love. So like I said, that's how I'm able to connect. You know, with a motherfucker with a hoe because I can I can I can understand her in ways that this square motherfucker can't. You know, um, that's just like I it's a certain bitch that comes to mind, right? This is where a lot of bitches go wrong. See, a lot of bitches be ashamed of their history in the game. This is the prostitute that I'm talking about. You got a lot of prostitutes that are ashamed of their history in the game. They try to square up and hide, the fact that they was in the game. See, a hoe, she gonna be proud of it. A hoe ain't gonna have no problem, letting a motherfucker know that. And if they don't want to accept that about her, then hey, fuck them. Even if she's retiring from the game or stepping out the game, whatever the case may be, if she was really a hoe, she's not gonna have no problem telling nobody that. And if they, like I said, if they don't want to accept that about her, then she's not tripping. But you got these prostitute ass bitches who done been down in the game, and like I said, they'll step away from the game. And they try to hide the fact, you know, and so these types of bitches, like I said, I know of a bitch that came crawling back to the game, and at one point in time she left the game, prostitute, left the game, got her a boyfriend, but was hot in a relationship with this motherfucker. She just had been in the game prior, but she hid that fact from him. And the motherfucker found out in a type of way that he shouldn't have had to find out, which was aside from her mouth. It should have been something that she just let him know. I just want to let that this is my background. You know what I mean? Hopefully you can accept that about me, but if not, I understand. She didn't approach it like that. The bitch really just tried to hide it. Then when he confronted her about the shit, she tried to continue to hide it. You know what I mean? Then he confronted her again, and finally, she admitted the shit, and the motherfucker left her ass. And a big part of the reason why is because, like I said, he's a square. He can't stomach that. Even though the bitch ain't active in the game no more, he can't stomach the fact that, like, damn, this bitch that slept with 1,000 motherfuckers. Some of them's dick was probably bigger than mine. Some of them sex game was probably better than mine. Like, damn, she done had all these different men. Ain't no way in the world I'm gonna please her. Then it's like, damn, what I look like, this is everybody's garbage can. I can't have everybody's garbage can as my woman. This is how a square gonna think. So that's why he left the bitch. You know what I mean? And the bitch probably somewhere lonely still to this day because she never wanted to fuck with the only type of man that really would accept her for who she is without, passing judgment on her, and that's some pimping. You know what I mean? But it is what it is. She probably somewhere lonely. But as much as I appreciate this time with y'all, Pimp gonna cut it short. You know what I mean? I got things to do, and I'm sure y'all do too. But I appreciate y'all as always. You know what I mean? I appreciate you viewing. I appreciate you hitting that thumbs up. I appreciate you subscribing. I appreciate you hitting that bell when you subscribe so that you get notified whenever I'm on here. I appreciate the donations. I appreciate your support in every which way that you bring it to the freeze. You did. Greatly appreciate it. We're going to do it again real soon. Like I said, we're going to have a video real soon about the Mac versus the player versus the pimp. We're going to speak on that. And we also gonna speak on Freeze's introduction to the game. You know what I mean? I'm glad that question was asked, and we're gonna speak on that as well. You know what I mean? So coming soon. In the meantime, best of blessings to y'all. Y'all be easy.